Hello and welcome back to the NFL Quick Talk podcast. As always, you can find the show on YouTube and Spotify. Subscribe and follow. Join the Patreon page for $1 a month. Link in the description. So this being the channel's first of weekly reactions to the NFL weekend, and I'll be doing this all week throughout the NFL season. So a little bit on how we're going to do this so I don't have to explain myself every time. I will be taking the best 10-ish games out of the week, and I will be talking about them for a little bit before moving on to the next game, and I'll give the injury report right before we jump into all of that. Hopefully that's clear enough for y'all. If you think I left something out, leave it in the comments. I would be glad to hear it. Also, like the video if you thought that week 1 was absolutely amazing, like I did. I thought that the return of football was awesome for just everyone in general, right? Anyway, let's move on to the injury report. Defensive tackle Cam Hayward for the Pittsburgh Steelers is out for 8-ish weeks due to a groin injury he sustained in game. So that'll be about 2 months for Cam Hayward. Running back J.K. Dobbins for the Baltimore Ravens is out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL. Right tackle for the Cleveland Browns, Jack Conklin's out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL as well. Wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Deontay Johnson, sustained a minor hamstring injury. He will be out for 1 to 3 weeks. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers, big news out of New York, is out for the rest of the season with a torn Achilles tendon. Absolutely killer there. And then wide receiver Cooper Kupp for the Rams was put on IR right before the game, so he'll be out for at least 4 to 5 weeks and possibly more. I know that there was way more injuries than that, but that's all we'll cover for today. Kicking off the reactions, we have the Jaguars at the Colts. Final score 31-21 in favor of the Jaguars. Both teams went for it on fourth down. This is just something that I noticed a lot, and there was a lot of missed opportunities with great field position for both sides. This game could have easily been very high scoring, but it wasn't. Overall, the Jaguars offense looked really explosive. ETN looked really, really good at running back. 100-plus yards for Calvin Ridley. And Trevor Lawrence does what he does best with 241 yards in the air and 2 total touchdowns for him. The Colts offense was very inconsistent. There was really spurts of really, really good football, and that was followed by drops, bad throws, and just overall inconsistency in general. And really, the Colts offense really only scored 14 points because the last touchdown was a freak play in which DeForest Buckner picked up a ball that was dropped, and everyone kind of just sort of just watched the ball and didn't really react at all. And DeForest Buckner was the only one that had his head in the game, just picked up the ball and ran for the touchdown. But overall, a really good win for the Jaguars. Moving on to the Bengals at the Browns. Final score 3-24 in favor of the Browns. Joe Burrow was never really comfortable with A, his ankle, and B, the Browns defense, who played to absolute perfection. I'll give credit where it is due. They played phenomenal. And just to prove that point, T. Higgins, who's a very good wide receiver lining up opposite Jamar Chase, had a whopping 0 catches for a whopping 0 yards. And I think that the Browns, this is just one stat line that proves that the Browns played this game to perfection. The Browns have historically always had Joe Burrow's number. Anytime that they have played a Joe Burrow-led Bengals team, they have won, I think now 7 out of 8 times, or 6 out of 7 times. It is 6 out of 7 times, my bad. And Deshaun Watson, switching gears here, didn't put up the greatest of numbers. He did what he needed to do to solidify his role as a game manager, which he needs to be. He's not going to be the dynamic Deshaun Watson that we saw with the Texans, but if he can be an effective game manager like he was today, the Browns will win a whole bunch of games this season, and the Bengals have a lot of work to do to get ready for the next game because there's a lot of questions there. Though overall, I think that this game proves to be a little bit more of a fluke than a fact, in my opinion, just because the Bengals cannot be this bad, and they will go and win double-digit games regardless of this. You heard it here. Uh, Lots of people are down on them just because they lost this game. I see no reason why not to still have them win double-digit games and possibly win the AFC North, although it'll be even tougher now. I just think that the Bengals are a lot better than people give them credit for at this point in time, and I feel like that's going to be the case with a lot of teams down the road here in a second. All right, next up we have the Texans at the Ravens. Final score 9-25 in favor of the Ravens. Lamar Jackson did not look up to snuff, throwing only for 169 yards, passing an interception, and running for a measly 38 yards. He has to perform better. He is not a game manager. Those are game manager stats, like what we were saying with Deshaun Watson. If he puts up that many and scores 25 and they play really good defense, that's all the Cleveland fans should ever ask. Ravens fans, on the other hand, should be very concerned with this because Lamar Jackson should be putting up eye-popping numbers every week. That's just how he plays. Houston offense looks terrible as well. They need to use newly acquired Dalton Schultz at tight end more in the receiving game. He only had like one catch for 3 yards, I'm pretty sure, just off the top of my head. And it was kind of overall just a bleh game. I was just really struck by the fact that Lamar Jackson did not play very well, so it seems, by the stat lines. Moving on to the Buccaneers visiting the Vikings. Final score 20-7 in favor of the Bucs, and kudos for the Bucs for pulling this one out. I know in my prediction videos I had the Vikings winning this one, and I was taken aback by how good the Bucs played and how competent Baker Mayfield looked at quarterback. The Bucs offense really cooked with inefficient newcomers like Baker Mayfield and draft picks like Trey Palmer, who had the early touchdown reception, pivotal interception by an undrafted rookie out of Rutgers named Isian in the end zone with I think 18 seconds left on the clock, really helped shift the momentum in favor of the Buccaneers. If the Vikings would have scored a touchdown there, they're up by 2 scores, and the game starts to get a little bit out of hand for the Buccaneers, but they really pulled off that splash play, if you will, and they kept in the game, and the momentum really shifted, as I said before, to the Buccaneers, and that carried over into the second half. Linebackers Lavonte David and Devin White led the team with a combined 20 tackles. If they play like that, they should both be Pro Bowlers this year. The Bucs offense turned out very clutch in the final 5 minutes of the game with clutch third down conversions after clutch third down conversions. I mean, it was like 3rd and 13 about 3 straight times, and they just converted and just bled the clock all the way out. Didn't give the Vikings offense a chance to respond. And that's the best way to approach it with Kirk Cousins throwing to Justin Jefferson. You just got to keep him off the field, right? And that should solve all their problems. Anyway, great statement win for the Buccaneers. The 49ers are visiting the Steelers. Final score 30-7 in favor of the 49ers. The 49ers forced the Steelers to play the 49ers type of game. The Niners got the Steelers behind early so that the Niners could lean on the heavy run game with a healthy Christian McCaffrey, who proves that he is a top 3 running back still in the league with bruising run after bruising run. Steelers offense looks really sloppy and dysfunctional and lethargic from the start. Also, where was the vertical offense from the Pittsburgh Steelers? Head coach Mike Tomlin and OC Matt Canada said that there was going to be a lot more vertical plays. And, I mean, they tried to force a couple, but besides that, it just really never happened. All credit to the 49ers, though. They played an outstanding football game all day, 4 quarters. And just from getting the O-line opening up gaping holes for Christian McCaffrey to the defensive players like Fred Warner and just everyone, really all 11 guys just flying around it, and they did not miss any tackles. They are a great defensive group. And an overview, really, the Steelers just got outmatched on all levels of the game by a superior team in the 49ers, and I expect the 49ers to really compete for the NFC title this year. So overall great statement win for the 49ers. Eagles visiting the Patriots, final score 25-20. And I watched most of this game, and it really struck me how the Patriots show that they can have a half-competent offense. They actually had receivers. They played receivers to their strengths. just when designing route concepts and stuff like that. And that comes with not having a defensive analyst uh, call your plays for you like they did last year. They actually had an offensive coordinator come in, and Mac Jones didn't play half bad either. And that's as a result of getting an offensive coordinator. And I think that he'll play very decently this year if he keeps that type of play up. And the Eagles still didn't really play well as an offense, weren't quite clicking on all cylinders, but still found a way to pull this one out. And I think that's a mark that all really good teams should have. If you're not having your best day, you still should be able to pull out some wins, and the Eagles showed that they could do just that. Packers visiting the Bears, final score 38-20, and Jordan Love, quarterback for the Packers, looked great in this game. 3 touchdowns for 245 passing yards, and he really looked awesome in this game, throwing to everyone and really spreading the ball out really well. The Packers defense really did help out with plays like Quay Walker's pick 6 and the team's 4 sacks on Justin Fields. And Justin Fields just looked uncomfortable in general. He looked uncomfortable running, and he looked very uncomfortable, and he was inconsistent passing, which really did not help the Bears at all. And the Bears did not look like a great team at all, especially their defense, who did not play up to snuff either. Rams at Seahawks, final score 30-13, in favor of the Rams, and time of possession really showed this game its true colors, and the Rams doubled the Seahawks. Not rough estimate, but just rounding. The Rams had 40 minutes to the Seahawks 20, and that really told how the game went. Geno Smith played decently well through the first half and then just struggled in the second half. Inaccurate, couldn't complete passes in the second half. The offensive line looked really weak for the Seattle Seahawks, and this was just a really well-coached Rams team, and they coached to the strengths of Matthew Stafford, who played like an elite quarterback. I don't know if that'll be consistent throughout the whole year, but they really played well against a Seattle defense that did not look ready, and they missed a ton of tackles for the Seahawks. Terrible tackling. They need to do a better job of that in the future. And like I said before, after the first half, the Seahawks offense was just non-existent because of the fact that the time of possession really was in favor of the Rams. Cowboys at Giants, final score 40-0. This was a statement win for the Cowboys. This was my statement win of the week, actually. The Giants offense looks this is going to be harsh, but they looked like a dysfunctional, like, group of 5 school offense. It looked just so dysfunctional. It didn't look like they could ever be on the same page at all. But I mean, it's the truth. If you watch the game, that's how it was. I know it was raining. I know that there'll be some excuse that Giants fans can come up with, but that's just the truth. And if their offense plays like that, then they will lose every game this season because their defense cannot bail them out every single time. The Cowboys offense didn't put up big numbers, but they didn't need to because their defense took a kick 6 to the house where, the blocked kick, and they took it to the house and forced 3 turnovers, 1 fumble by Saquon Barkley, and 2 interceptions by Daniel Jones. Overall, great win for the Cowboys. Here's time for my game of the week. The Dolphins at the Chargers, 36-34 final, and Tua and Tyreek went off. That's going to be the duo if Tua can stay healthy, the Tua and Tyreek duo. Just some numbers for you. Tua Tagovailoa, QB, went for 466 yards, 3 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. Those are numbers that get you Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. Tyreek Hill went for 11 receptions, 215 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Really should have been 3. He got held up at the goal line. It was super close play. Should have been touchdown. And this was just a great game in general. The Chargers didn't play that half bad as well. Justin Herbert went for 228 yards passing, a touchdown passing, and a touchdown running. And Austin Eckler went for 117 yards rushing and a touchdown. Both defenses played a little soft, and they can definitely get better in their respective areas. But overall, these are 2 teams that are going to be very good this season, in my opinion. And I think that this was just one of the best games of the week by far. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like the video if you thought that week 1 was amazing, just as I did. Be sure to subscribe to get all the notifications, and comment down below your thoughts on week 1. See you on the flip side.